Nobody can beat him on this map. I have him on record saying that. I recall him saying that multiple times at Red Bull Waterloo. Let's see if it holds true, because it has to for Marine Lord. In this best of 5, he now can settle for nothing but perfection. He's 2-1 down. It needs to be a reverse sweep. And we hop into Holy Island to kick that off. A map that he thinks is just his. Big shout out to Fat Bluff for the gifted sub, by the way. And this is going to be an interesting matchup, folks. It's almost an exact kind of mirroring of what we got to see on the LAN, actually. The LAN grand finals between Puppet and Marine Lord was Juji versus Ayyubids. This time it's going to be Japanese versus Ayyubids. And what I mean by it's the same, it's that Japan and Juji are the two most dominant civs on Holy Island for slightly different reasons, but same conclusion, they are meant to be the kings here. Ayyubids is the more recent challenger. I'm curious, is Anatan going to go for the industry wing build that we saw out of the Canadian about a week ago? It seems likely here. Like, you could maybe argue Desert Raider here to try and pressure on land a bit, but the industry wing play I think makes even more sense against Japanese than Juji. It's a bit tricky though, because of the fact that you can go for the Shinobi, and the Shinobi will block out the proxy docks. And this is even wilder. Are you kidding me? We're going to hit the 2 times as we set this up. Guys, Anatan is on the west side. This is the east side of the pond. He's taking it away. And Marine Lord, this is what I was thinking, is because that industry wing play, the industry wing play really only works if you build up your fishing versus Japan. This is a really smart move by Marine Lord. Learning from that weird build that he experienced on the grand finals of Red Bull Waterloo, he goes for the fast feudal to guarantee he has control of the Coca Township. Now, Anatan shouldn't really be looking to go advance on wing, but he's doing it anyway. He does at least have a second dock coming up, and this is why actually typically like Ayyubid's Abbasids can be quite decent against Japan on water maps, is because you only pay 75 wood per dock. It's very difficult for the Coca Township to sabotage all of your docks to block production, and it's going to be even harder than that. Archery ship is already on the way, 15 seconds out, and the Coca Township isn't complete yet for Marine Lord because he didn't go for a fast feudal, right? This wasn't your 7 or 8 working on the Coca Township, it was the 4. He thought it was going to be good enough, but as people quite often learn when they experience Ayyubids on water, Ayyubids is all about the first 4 or 5 minutes of play. The first 4 or 5 minutes is king. Because Advance on Wing in particular has been capable of ending tournament games in 6 minutes when water is involved. The tech up complete, and ironically Marine Lord says, okay, I'll just go to your side of the map. Unfortunately, the scout saw him. Archer ship won't be able to hit him. I say that, Marine Lord barely alive there. He's going to lose the villager. The scout will run this down. Okay, so -1. And also in a situation where now Anatan can start to fish. How could you possibly lose this, right? Like that's what I'm now thinking, is like, what way does Marine Lord have out? It almost feels like this has to be a classic fast castle build. You could go Mass Shinobi. I think Mass Shinobi is slept on in the feudal age, but you would be up against fishing at the end of the day, right? And like, what's your target with these Shinobi? Because if Anatan just plays it right with his economy, he's not going to be exposed, right? Like, he can just keep archer ships to defend against the fishing. And then he can just stay hunkered down on land so that he can't be reached by Shinobi. This is tricky. So, Anatan probably... Yeah, he is going to wrap the archery range. That's a bit tricky, though, because... Marine has 2 options now. He could try to mirror Horseman, bit tricky because your opponent will have fishing. Or he could go for like an outpost drop and then tech. Instead, are you kidding me? He came back again. Only this time, it's going to work. So Marine Lord, really big deal here for Red. He gets the dock up. Spring on ship immediately gets queued. And Anatan has to be feeling a bit frustrated because now this has turned into an initial investment requirement on water in a game where he was trying to get ready for land. Yeah, this is tricky now because it also means your opponent could potentially go for fishing. We are going to see the villager moving north side to try and mirror the dock. This is not likely to be possible. Wait, what? Marine Lord? This is more baboon than orangutan right now. Spring ship has come out. Now, this is the play, right? You want to move upriver. So I thought he was going to pull the villager east sooner because all you have to do here is bait him over and then snipe the Spring Lord. So yeah, definitely, I think that could have been micro maybe a bit better by Marine Lord. I think there was an opportunity to get Anatan so close to the shoreline that when the Spring Lord comes out, he definitely dies. But what he at least gets is the second dock. Anatan now trying to add in Desert Raiders is kind of curious here. I mean, Desert Raiders aren't bad at kind of poking away at the Shinobi. You can get Shunshin, though. So the problem with Desert Raider versus Shinobi, and why I'm not a big fan of it, is if you look away for a second, because you think you can, because you'll start stepping with the bow or whatnot, and Shunshin comes in, you do have 5 melee armor, but you're also a melee unit, which means that you still take 20 damage per strike from the Shinobi. So you get eviscerated. And it's awkward even more so because you're paying almost double for a Desert Raider what you would for a Shinobi. Marine Lord now pressuring across as well. Archer ship, got Spring ship moving in. This is tricky because now that he's arrived with boats here, his Shinobi can win this. Because they can start to come into sabotage. Yeah, kind of an uncomfortable situation. And he is going to walk in. Shinobi goes to the Sabo. Will look to Shunshin away. Almost gets the villager. Beautiful dodge there. If you can get this guy back home, over time, he will heal up. In the meantime, though, the Desert Raider diving in here. Looks like he did go for a villager kill. Able to get it. And it does cost him an expensive unit here. This was looking really good for Marine Lord. I think Anatan has to make a very convincing move in the next 2 minutes, or we're heading to a 5th game. Because Marine Lord is going to start to scale eco soon, for a start. Oof. Another dock? I gotta say, I wish Holy Island played like this more often, you know? Like the kind of standardized drop your dock on your side and head towards each other making monkey noises is kind of lost its appeal, but this is absolutely fantastic on the back and forth. Both of them just as crafty as each other. Demo ship now just having to flee for its life. The army just too far away on this east side. Do have at least the one archer defending at home, but the horsemen are on the way, and that is going to be a block on the gold. If Anatan was planning to go mass demos, that plan may be rudely disrupted here. Remember, the Desert Raider is going to struggle against double horsemen. Because although it counters it, it gets countered by it. It's a weird thing. I do love this detail overall, though. If we do start to see Marine Lord lean more gold to just get Shinobi, get more demo ships, he'll eventually get his hands on the upgrade for the TC as well, right? And the Daimyo will give him access to a Feudal Knight, which would be huge in this matchup. Not going to get sabotaged, though, and that's easy to clean up. Yeah, so this is like the funny thing, right? I think what Japan has gotten really good at doing on maps of this type of design is the way they split the map. If you can split the map like this, you're actually favored. The reason is Shinobi, because you can move your boats around, sabotage, and then target down docks, whereas when your opponent sets up like this, you could come in Shinobi sabotage, but there's going to be another boat coming out, right? Like, it's much easier when you have these kind of pocketed docks for the Japanese to win than the Ayubids to win. And I don't think there's any civ that really beats them in that point of contest, right? Like, even Juji, which is another powerful pick on this map, if you have to do these staggered docks away from each other, Japan will just peel you and kill you. Horseman again, just to counter out the Desert Raiders. I don't know. Anatan kind of feels like he's stuck in a rut when I see him doing this. Just mass Desert Raiders against Horseman Shinobi. This is like one of the worst comps to do this against. Also, you're in a game where, yes, you've got fishing, but so does your opponent, right? He's not been blocked out that any longer. Anatan. He's going to keep trying to contest, but you're going to see the Shinobi damage does add up pretty quick. Needs to be careful in the retreat, because this is the one area you can get kind of tripped up in. I think what Marine Lord probably needs is more more horsemen here, because if the Desert Raider count gets high enough, they'll pick you apart. It seems instead, though, Marine Lord is opting to lean more into military on sea, which can make a lot of sense here, right? If he gets a bit of disruption on the fishing, then this mass Desert Raider strategy doesn't work. Similar to scaling mass Camel Archers, you need a lot of food. Actually, it's kind of weirder when I think about it with Desert Raiders. Like with Camel Archers, you just need the food. With Desert Raiders, you need the food and the gold, which can usually be tricky on a map like Holy Island. Desert Raiders just trying to be a little bit tricky here. Navy is going to start marching in on the sea. Remember, this damage is permanent. This damage is permanent, but the Shinobi is temporary. Something you can balance to your advantage here. Good micro so far by Anatan. Looks like he's going to try to pick apart the initial cav units here. However, instead he's going to get picked apart himself. Yeah, it doesn't feel great just doing these ranged attacks, right? Into horsemen that have 2 armor, you already kind of tickle. So you're down to 5 damage, basically a bow. Standard bow. Doesn't feel great in terms of trade. Especially against a unit that's going to have 125 HP. I mean, that means you need, what, 25 strikes to kill a horseman? That's a lot. Especially if you just look away for a second. Instead he goes melee mode. Much bigger fan of this. I think overall this is the better way to trade up against these horsemen. Just force the fight. Offside though, one pony has arrived. That might prove to be a nuisance here. If I know Marine Lord, I'm expecting a move while he's raiding with that horseman. Force the reaction out of the villagers and then look to dive in. But Anatan fully aware of what he's attempting here. Doesn't show any signs of weakness. Still, this chip damage will begin to add up, right? Like, not for this raid, but follow-up raid, it could be big. So you kind of need to do the same for Anatan. Looks for the opportunity now. Starts to march in. The horseman is going to be a good blocker here. So the walls go up. Good reaction there by a red. And notice that he doesn't have to wall the south side. This is for a good reason. Anatan has to station himself here because he needs to be ready to block the docks against sabotages. Otherwise, they're going to start to be dropped. In fact, we've got a lot of docks now. Was that 5? Compared to 4. Like, Anno could actually have a military edge on water in terms of production, but he's putting it all into land. A peculiar game as well, because it almost feels like Marine Lord, I don't want to say he's macroing for castle. He can't with the gold being blocked, but he's seeing a lot of food. And yeah, I feel like he needs more production here. Probably would have preferred a second stables. But this looks like he's going to be leaning rack, so we're probably going to be seeing Spimman coming. Desiree's in the meantime dive in. Marine Lord, no reaction. Red finally starts to pull away. The melee mode was a mistake there, though. Anatan could have gotten about 3 more villager kills if he just stuck to range form there. Ah, man, I think he got a bit too excited. He could taste the victory. Had he stuck to range form there and taken the calculated exchange, that would have been 2, maybe 3 more villager kills. An eco lead that really registers, and still this same idle time being achieved. However, if Emlord doesn't pay attention here, Anatan might still get a good... Wait, why are we in range mode now? Oh, no. I think that's the last opportunity he's going to get to do that. Yeah, Baltin, you've just got to, like, you got to level up your meta, bro. I just love that. The location of Navy just registered in my brain. Yeah, this is like how you spawn, right? Counter raid coming in. Orangutan looking to do the same damage. And remember, the Archinobi in the mixer, if you end up attacking the Horseman instead, it's a terrible trade. There's still 1 ninja there. The shivs are still out, and the Horseman is lasting so long here. He has at least got the debuff from the camel, but the fact that that 1 Shinobi is in there stabbing these boys down is the biggest problem of all. And once again, that Shinobi is on the backside of the formation, being ignored until last. Finally, he gets taken down. Both players taking a heavy dose of pain to their economy. And as a result, neither one ahead. 58 to 59 eco. Marine Lord, though, has been stacking up a big boy fleet. He sets sail on the high winds. Anatan, this is another tricky thing. It's much more micro-intensive to play Desert Raiders here compared to what Red's doing, right? So Red can put a lot more focus on the sea, while Anatan has to either just run away all the time with the Desert Raiders or micro them perfectly, while also microing this army here. It's so much more difficult. Anton's like, can I just use the Flying Dutchman cheat and I'll bring my army on land, maybe? They're perfectly positioned for it, you know? If we just had a sieve that, like, you know, the bottom of the boats just pop little holes and people use their legs to run along the land, kind of like a Looney Tunes cartoon, I'd be game for it. This game's wild, actually. We're actually heading castle. Both players looking to do it, but there's a big difference here. Flown Gate already on the way. Anatan hasn't got the gold yet. Even when he does, he already used Advancement Wing, meaning he's going to have to wait 2 whole minutes to get 800 wood and 400 stone. That's kind of cool, though. The idea of a land transition here, maybe. But you're going to be up against a tempo sieve, right? Japan is fantastic for this aggressive timing at the beginning of the age up. So although I like this idea of transitioning TCs, the question I now have in my brain is, do you actually have enough time for it? It's going to be put to the question himself here. As Red has fully backed off. Marine Lord is just content to fish. He understands the edge he now has. Tech up complete. Flown Gate already sending that first Yorishiro off to the stables. And then this lad can be off to the races to win some bets on these relics. Dive comes in. Villagers are being targeted down. Double outpost gets rushed up. By some miracle, Anatan not losing a single unit there. The Desert Raid in the choke point bought enough time. Armored Hulls now also on the way from Marine Lord. You've seen Anatan prepping Teak Mars. In fact, is he aging? Okay, he is. Oh, yeah, well, I'm an idiot. I just said a second ago. It was a long flight back. I'm used to having this nice little bar here. Hopefully, Capture Age will give us that soon. I wonder, is there a world in which you just vet the Horseman? It sounds a bit crazy here. But your opponent's gone mass Desert Raiders. He's still spamming more. It could be viable. He's going to dive in. Spears, able to get a few hits in as well. There's an attempt to microwave Anatan, but there's not really anywhere to go from here. So we'll just be an A-click into the fight. And the numbers do favor him, so an easy hold. However, behind this, the first relic's already on the way home. Marine Lord has now extended out to capture the second gold vein. And he has got the Mounted Samurai now on the way. These guys will struggle against this many Desert Raiders. But he should be capable of getting numbers to mirror or outmass. Right now, though, you're not really seeing it. Instead, what you're seeing is Marine Lord. He dives in. He wants water. He will not take no as an answer here. Armored Hulls is already in for him. It's 15 seconds away for his opponent. The damage you could do in 15 seconds with a Springle ship line this big could be irreparable. Anatan has got demo ships on the way, but not from the front docks. And that's why you're seeing Red back up, right? Like, Marine Lord is paranoid that it is going to be a forward-spawning dock with the boom ships, right? We could see that those weren't active. So, funnily enough, like, looking back at the replay, Marine Lord will be like, okay, I could have been here longer. You just can't take that risk. You don't know for sure. So, he does back away. Second relic is now on the way home for Red, though. And Anatan can't really afford to sidestep into Moss too quickly here with the Desert Raider spam, right? Looks like he's going to go for it now, but that means he's going to pause his production slightly. That could give an opening here to Marine Lord. Marine Lord, who is now adding in spears alongside the Mounted Samurai. Ayyubid's also good on war maps like this. Ayyubids are really good for the opening timing. The way this game evolved is like credit to Anatan, right? But typically the play value is you go Advancement Wing or Industry Wing, some players like to do on this map. But Advancement Wing typically in water gives Ayyubids an insane edge at the very beginning of your age. But you have to use it. And admittedly, although you used it well, the intent was to keep Marine Lord always off water. Because when this starts to happen, it's nightmare fuel, baby. We move in. Demo's not able to connect. Follow-up's not able to do so either. In the meantime, on land, Army's going to be able to push back the Desert Raiders. The counter demo play now coming in. Good connection there, but the Armored Hulls will minimize any losses from Marine Lord. He's able to back off from this. This game is not over yet, folks. Desert Raiders still being spammed. Why? Like, it's kind of getting a bit wild at this stage in this game. I thought maybe archers would make a nice transition for Anatan, but I guess it's because he's got all this food. Archers doesn't make sense. Desert Raiders are going to be able to outnumber here. We'll be able to bring down most of the Mount Samurai and back away. And we have got Camel Lancers now also being produced by Anatan. And what is up, boy? Thank you very much for the raid, my friend. Appreciate you. Hopefully you had a good stream. Oh, what a wild game. I love that we're 22 minutes in and it's just not apparent who's winning at all. These are the type of games I wish for every day. Mount Samurai still getting outnumbered. It just feels like Anatan is microing better in these little micro skirmishes, right? Desert Raiders are getting low, but they're not necessarily dying. However, the real big pain is that Marine Lord is getting the real win condition. Things like this, the relics being pulled back. Finally, Shinto Priest is going to get shut down. Back at home, where are the Urashira drops? You've got one in the racks, one in the stables, one in the forge. And I imagine we're now going to have extra relics coming back. Keep in mind, Marine Lord could also transport ship for the island relic because he's the one controlling this area. Anatan has not really ever stepped past this threshold. Yeah, it's almost like you can see that Anatan doesn't want to play water. He just wants to exist. He wants to make it about land. I'm not sure if he's going to have much more of a choice, though, because while the skirmish is coming in, there's a push in on the water again from Marine Lord. Archer ships holding wide. Demo ship pump in reserve. 6 of these bad boys ready to shake him to his core. Push up around the side. It's going to force a retreat out. Archer ships trying to front line here. Marine Lord trying to micro past it. Unable to do so, though. However, he has peeled it back. The archer ship's overextended. Anatan, he only has one archer ship left, and that's about to be sunk as well. So the demos are coming. This could be big. But Marine Lord, he's only just queued them up. A little bit of a gap in the production will give a stave execution as Anatan prepares 4 more galleys. On land, though, Marine Lord is now getting deeper to the nitty-gritty bits of it. He's reached the gold. Outpost galore is going to prevent some of the gore, but not all of it. The spears are starting to clear up these Desert Raiders, at which point Camel Lancers left over as a defense doesn't feel great. Just a great read by Marine Lord, right? Like, overall, all he needs to win against this army is mass spears because Anatan doesn't have the Desert Raider count to cheese him out with these starter step archer shots now. Meanwhile, they'll see, look what happened! The demos finally found their target. Skims another. Marine Lord will look to reset, but then I imagine we're looking at a mass demo pump to try and end this. The classic one for Holy Island. A lot of gold to work with to that end as well. Anatan getting low on gold. He's going to have to start moving out to dangerous territory soon. We have got trebuchets on the way. A really smart play here. Because funnily enough, guys, usually you wouldn't expect to see trebuchets to clear up docks, but usually you wouldn't have your docks on the enemy side of the map and vice versa. Quick wall. Nice pinch there. However, Anatan's smart to keep that opening on the west side. Does get away. However, that is now going to be fully enclosed. And Marine Lord will have safe gathering in this area. Meanwhile, Anatan, more and more Desert Raiders again. Is it going to be quick enough, though? I just see a zergling effect from this spear count on the way. And funnily enough, because one of these players is going Desert Raiders, one's going spears, one's spending like over double, right? So that has to add up somewhere else, doesn't it? It adds up on water. Look at the difference now on the way. The Sprung count is going to matter a lot here. The demo's also prepped. Anatan. Wait. He mismicroed. I'm not talking about the boats that are making love and not gathering. I'm talking about the fact that Anatan has no archer ships. This could be big. If Marine Lord sees that, he's going to commit. And that could just end the game right there, right? Like, you do not have archer ships in position here for the initial wave. Fishing boats have to retreat. Demos now moving in. He realizes it. He sees there's no counter. There's a GG straight away. Anatan, what a crippling error. He was on the verge. So close. At multiple points. But in the end, he loses sight of one unit. One critical unit. And he knows it would end him immediately.